So, I was on the tram and I see, this is very blunt, but let's be real, this happens to literally everyone. So, I'm on the tram and I see a obese person, like a very obese person. And like the first thing I thought was, I wonder like what he ate to get to that size. Like, I wonder like what he eats like. And then I realized like that was what I asked, but a couple months ago, it would have just been like, how can you do that? You know? Like, and I had to just like let go of any thoughts about him because I was like, it doesn't matter, like, because you're just making an unnecessary judgment. This whole thing is about like why judgment is toxic for the soul. So, judgment, like, when you understand unity consciousness, you have to be very careful the things you think about other people. You're going to start realizing that everything is a projection of your inner world, and it's important not to judge people, even if that's not a characteristic that you have, because you're feeding yourself toxicity. Anything that's negative for your mind, anything that puts you at a low vibration, and judgment is a low vibration, you're feeding the negativity, which is completely unnecessary. Plus, like what I've started to do is, because I've started to think more mindfully about the thoughts that pop up, that you just kind of let happen. Like, don't let thoughts happen to you, be the thoughts that you want to be, you know what I mean? And then obviously thoughts will come up and you don't have much control over all of them, but you can convert or transmute the ones that do come up, and that is entirely in your control. What you do with what comes up, that is what's in your control. So, like, let's say I'll start to think about a certain person and I'll be like, why do they do that? Or why are they like that? And then I always just think, like, this always happens now. It's like it's my higher self. It's like it will say, like, this thought is entirely unnecessary. Like, I could, like, depict it, like, oh, why are they like this? Think about it real hard and, like, figure it out. Well, think I figure it out, you know, just come up with a solution that my ego has agreed and accepted and is okay with. But now, before I even, like, come up with a solution, I think, like, this thought isn't even important. Like, anything about anyone else and the way they live and the way they do things, it's not important. Like, it's an entirely unnecessary thought, especially if you're not ever going to ask to even find out. Like, most times we think about people, and when we think about them in our spare time, we make, like, a judgment, and we're like, oh, that must be why they're like that. Like, it doesn't really matter, because it's never going to do anything. It's never going to mean anything, you know what I mean? Like, it is entirely unnecessary. So then why feed those thoughts? Like, what is the point? And then it just makes you think, like, you could be, it just use those moments to be more loving. Like, very rarely now I find myself judging someone, and I have to really concentrate on why I'm judging them. Like, oh, my ego didn't like that, you know? But then I think, like, so my ego, me, what am I? And it changes the question. So there's this guy called Rupert Spira, right? And he does these podcasts, and they're fucking amazing. And he said, like, change like a negative judgmental thought, like, oh, they shouldn't have treated me like that. And then you change it from the ego, but who is me? Who am I? And then when you think about that, you remember that we're all just here on this planet together, one consciousness. When I judge someone, I'm like, but that's me though. But that is me though. That's me in a different life. If I grew up in their womb with their exact life, with their exact childhood, with their exact everything, I'd be exactly who they are. Does that make sense? Like, I would have become exactly whoever they are. Like, we are all together. Judging is literally pointless, and it's going to block your manifestations because you're going to be at a lower state. You have to think about, like, every little thing that you're thinking about. And I feel like even that in itself is something to think about. Like, just like, see the humanity in everyone. I find it bizarre, like the way some people think about other people, and I'm like, how did you even get that from that? But people are so used to seeing others as threats. Like, why is this hair like this? It's been annoying me all day. But hey, I don't have to look at it. It's fine. It's your problem now, buddy. But yeah, like, I've started just, even people that seem like threatening or scary, like because the way they present or the way they're behaving, like I will show them so much love and kindness because they are the ones who need it the most. Like, I don't think you understand. If you think someone looks like a bit dodgy, right? Everyone else is probably thinking that too. So everyone is probably giving them the short end of the stick, not knowing who they are. Like, maybe they present a bit scruffy or a bit unfriendly. And I've approached these people before with just genuine care. And I see an entirely different side to them than the people around me. And I find that interesting because if we just gave everyone a shot to show us who they actually are instead of just making an assumption based off like a physicality, like imagine, right, we make an assumption based off of physicality. Like, how are we doing that? Like, you literally have to approach someone and speak to them, and like, and because we're all children on the inside. Like, would you neglect a child that looks a bit scruffy? Like, no, we're all children. Like, I feel like not everyone, I feel like a lot of people, like, they're wearing their pain. So maybe they're obese, and that's probably from a trauma that has led them to escape through like overindulging, right? Or like, it could be like literally anything, like just in their face or in you know what they're wearing. And it's like, you can almost see people's baggage. Like, I can see the pain of the humans, like by even just like their face or their soul. Sometimes they're all well put together, but their face is saying something else or their eyes are saying something else. And I'm like, you're wearing your pain, you know what I mean? You're wearing all the baggage that you haven't let go of yet. And that's so interesting because like people are coping with the stress in different ways because no one really knows what's going on, and it's causing like trauma and confusion and like mental disorders because no one has learned how to deal with these things, and no one has learned how to express and speak to people about these things. And so like people are just like holding these things that happen to them, and instead of letting it go, they're victimizing themselves. And that's just attracting more things, and then they're going to find more evidence to victimize themselves. And that's what states so many people are living in, just like self-victimization. And you'll never be happy and you'll never be free if you think that you're a victim, because you're not a victim, you are a creator. You are a creator, end of story. You're creating it all in your head because everything is perception, and you know that. You can't control other people's actions towards you and what happens to you, well, to an extent, but you can't control like other people's behavior around you and what they do to you. But how you choose to come out of that situation and handle it is entirely up to you. You could drink every night to try and forget about it, or you could see the reality of the situation and think, all right, I'm going to put me first. And in putting myself first and learning how to heal and love myself, I can heal and love other people because I'll have my head screwed on. The reason other people aren't helping people is because they've not even helped themselves yet. They don't even know how to begin to help someone because they don't have that self-love. Like they can't like people aren't friendly with people. Like, I work in hospitality and I've seen this, like, people are horrible to other people. That just does not make any sense to me. Like, so in healing yourself and focusing on yourself, you are doing a justice and a service to everyone else just by being happy, just by being yourself. I meet positive and uplifting people all the time, and it's so refreshing to be around them. And I think, like, imagine if everyone just like had this knowledge about like their own self-worth and the fact that we're all here on earth together, and that makes you very special. You know what I mean? It's very special to be here, and just being grateful for the little things and realizing the reality of what this world is. It's so important if you want like a fulfilling life, because death is very exciting to me. Like, I feel like I'm not scared of death, not even a little bit. It's literally letting go of my ego, but my soul will be free, and I can just do whatever, you know, comes along. I can choose what's next, and I'm excited for death, but I'm also so excited to be here. So no matter where I am, what I'm doing, I'm fine, and everyone else should almost like, I want everyone else to have that realization, like, I will be fine, like, no matter what. Like, even if I die, I will be fine. Like, because you don't realize that that's actually a freedom. Like, death is a rebirth, and everything is a blessing. Like, just, as I say, like, everything's perspective. So live your life to live it. Live your life to live it, because you know you're going to die. So why are you spending it in misery? Like, I don't know if any of that made sense to anyone. But I love you so much. Look after yourself, buddy. Take care of yourself, buddy. Definitely take care of yourself, buddy. Pal. Oh, buddy, oh, pal.